Have you ever walked into a room, felt tense? Maybe felt a little excited? Maybe walked into a place and felt relaxed? Or just went into someone's office and felt inspired? What's going on? Last week we talked about subconscious triggers that just trigger a feeling. It feels right, it feels wrong, it feels exciting, it feels depressing. We talked about music. This week we're getting into color that can also trigger an instant feeling, all invisible and below the radar. I mean, think about it. If you went to a hospital that was painted black, would that bother you? Went to your medical doctor wearing a brown leather jacket instead of a white coat? Did you know reds and yellows stimulate appetite? Let's get into it. Let's talk about it. Let's do it.
Maximize your influence. Kurt Mortensen is the author of Persuasion IQ, Laws of Charisma, and the best-selling book, Maximum Influence.
Thanks for being here, Kurt Mortensen. Maximize Your Influence podcast 553. Glad you're here. Pat yourself on the back. You're one of the top 3 to 1% that has a personal development program, that listens to podcasts, that reads the books, that invests in themselves, that goes to the seminars, that gets mentors, coaches, training. That's what it's all about. That's why the average CEO reads 6 books a month. We don't have time to figure it out on our own. We just want the answers, because every challenge we're going to face in life, someone else has already figured it out. And you can listen to the podcast, read the book, or find the right coach. So let's get into the blunder of the week. Don't. Is it a persuasion blunder? It can be. You decide here. So I was with a good friend, going to lunch, going to catch up, and pretty popular place, not a lot of parking, but there was one park left, one spot. But the car to the right of them was parked on an angle, took up too much space, but we squeezed in there. We had to get out on a slight angle. Okay, didn't think much of it. Came out with a nasty note on the car about learning how to park, being a moron. I'll spare you the profanity. What just happened? This can be called prejudging, which is huge in persuasion and sales. You prejudge they're not interested, they're not going to buy. Totally takes the energy out of your presentation. You assume something's happening. Someone cuts you off. You assume they're a terrible driver. Maybe they're on the way to the hospital. Maybe there's an emergency. We don't know, but we prejudge. And it's also known as the horn effect. Not to be confused with the halo effect. Talk about that and maximize your influence under the law of connectivity, where when you're good looking, people just think you're smarter, more trusted than you actually are. The horn effect is that cognitive bias where one single negative trait or experience or parking crooked, even though you didn't have a choice, leads someone to have an overall negative impression of you, your company. It just takes one bad experience, bad thing to cast a shadow over everything else. And that's what happened here. They didn't see the other car crooked. They had taken off. We were the only crooked car. And of course, it had to be our fault. That assumption, that prejudging, that horn effect, it distorts our judgment and prevents us from seeing the person objectively. We see this in job interviews. Somebody arrives late. Was there traffic? I don't know. You judge them on their body art. You judge them with your first experience or wait time for customer service. There are a lot of different things that happen. Teachers, if a student performs bad on that first test, boom, horn effect could lead to unfair evaluation, discrimination, missed opportunities, not getting the job, or leading to that nasty note on your car, assuming you were the worst person or fill in the blank in the world. So with that, let's get into the email that'll lead us into the content in the geeky article of the week. This comes from Jay in Wisconsin, that's the United States.
Oh boy!
Kurt, I've always loved to learn more about association triggers and those feelings and how important feelings are with persuasion influence. Remember, up to 95% of persuasion influence involves that trigger, that subconscious trigger, that feeling. It has to feel right. The numbers have to work. We know that, but it also has to feel right. And we've been in rooms before. Maybe it was a low ceiling. Maybe it was the music, as we talked about last week, but maybe it was the color. So Jay goes on to ask, he says, Kurt, in Maximum Influence, you talk about color. Can you take a deeper dive on the colors we should and should not use and how they trigger good or bad feelings. I found this article. I'm not sure if it's correct. Can you play fact or fiction with this article? Thanks, Jay. And as you know, anybody that submits email, humor, feedback, jokes, and I use it on the podcast, they get the gold version for free of influenceuniversity.com. That's the intense, advanced 52-week training, but there's libraries, there's audiobooks, there's videos. There's also a free section there if you just want to check that out. And if you get the advanced version, you get a coaching session with me every month. There's a lifetime membership. Check it out, influenceuniversity.com/special. And of course, the article and the links will be in your email. We'll also be at influenceuniversity.com under podcast 553. And of course, that's also home to take your free Persuasion IQ assessment. So the article Jay sent in, let me pull it up here, comes from the Science of People, titled Color Psychology, How Color Affects Your Emotions and Why. It's written by Mike Mantell. So before I get into the geeky article, let me talk a little bit about those color triggers, just as a foundation, then we'll play fact or fiction. Because we know, bottom line, color does matter. Fast food restaurants, schools, learning atmospheres, professional sports team who choose a certain color that represent them. Colors can suggest mood. And one study shows that color counts for over 60% of the acceptance of a rejection of object or person. And these impressions don't change overnight. We have automatic color triggers and hidden associations about various colors. Color impacts our thinking, our actions, and our reactions, and it can make a difference in our marketing. I mean, branding a product, your website with certain colors makes a big difference. It's a great persuasive tool because it's under the radar, subconscious, and we don't develop resistance to color persuasion techniques because it just happens. They're not just for appearance, they have significance. If I put all the colors up on the wall, yellow would be the first color that triggered in your brain. Red's number 2. Think about fire hydrants, fire trucks becoming yellow. First color to grab our attention and probably the first color to annoy. So there are arousal colors. There are calming colors. What colors should you use? And again, it can depend on culture or even occupation. Red can be exciting to one group and profitable to another, or stop or danger to another. Pink is a calming color. There was a holding cell in Seattle, Washington. It was the Naval Correction Center. A lot of aggression, a lot of fighting. They painted the whole cell pink, all the walls, and it reduced aggression. Maybe you saw the news, if you're into college football. Iowa's Kinnick Stadium, the visiting locker room for the football team, the whole thing's pink. Everything's painted pink, including the toilets. The visiting teams hate it, but the coach claims it's a big factor in their success. The color of pills you take. Black pills are rated stronger than white pills. Blue pills are calming. Red pills are stimulants. Color can enhance the flavor of food. With orange juice, they put a little food dye there, made a little oranger, and people thought it was sweeter. The brain actually fired in a way that it did taste sweeter. This is true strawberries, tomatoes, raspberries. The redder they looked, the more they were preferred. Even the flavor of coffee, right? Same coffee, same batch. 200 people are asked to judge the coffee from 4 different containers. Red container, blue container, brown container, and yellow container. Yet it was all the same. Yellow container was too weak. Blue was too mild. Brown was too strong. 85% found the red container to be rich and full-bodied because color mattered. Another interesting one, laundry detergent, right? Let's test the laundry detergent for quality. It was the same detergent, just different color boxes. One box was all yellow, one was all blue, and one was a combination of yellow and blue. Well, yellow was too harsh. Again, same detergent. Blue's too weak, but blue and yellow was just right. So with that background, let's do a little fact or fiction with the article. Again, we'll supply that link. Color psychology, how color affects emotions and why. So the article goes on to say, when you walk into a room, open a web page, your brain will process colors before words and shapes. This is actually fact. Our brain's going to look at colors, smells, music, right? These things are instant. So color psychology is how colors impact your emotions and behavior. Hey, let me add, politicians spend hours, maybe even days, to decide what colored tie they should wear to the debate. It matters. Using Photoshop in the same photo, red ties always outpull. And for men, red, white, and blue. Red suit, no, I'm kidding. Blue suit, white shirt, red tie still pulls the best. So you can optimize behavior by optimizing colors. So they also go on to say, if you grew up with an orange-colored house, maybe that could trigger personal feelings for you. So a little bit of both. And then they go on to go through each color here, and we'll compare it to my list. So blue is loyal and stability. I agree with that fact, but I would also add blue can trigger truth, harmony, devotion, and even relaxation. They say red is passion and aggression. True, but it also can show strength and power, and sometimes even triggered excitement. The article says yellow is happiness and optimism. My challenge with a lot of hues of yellow, they trigger tension and even anger. So yellow could be a bright, happy color, but it can trigger tension and even kind of a loudness in the room. I'll give you an example. My daughter, young, she was probably around 8, and she wanted to paint her room. We're like, all right, we'll help you pick a color. And she chose a yellow. And her friends wouldn't play in her room because it was the angry room. They fought in there, so they didn't play anymore until we changed the color. Green says healing, success. True, I like that, but also could be peaceful, money, growth, happiness. Black is power and mystery. Could also trigger desperation. Some cultures, that's wicked. But it also could be mysterious or even death. Could be careful of that. But it can be a professional color. It can be a sharp color. Black suits can pull almost just as well as blue suits. Purple, they mention, is royalty, spirituality. True, there are some cultures that purple is reserved just for royalty. Can be a very spiritual color. It's the top color high on the rainbow, so it is a very spiritual color. But I would add purple could trigger passion, show authority, and even dignity. Then there's orange. I think orange is up there with yellow. If it's really bright orange, can trigger tension after a while. I mean, it'll attract attention. So energy, fun, warmth, yeah, it could. But it could also be unpleasant. Some cultures is a sign of bravery and open communication. White, they say purity, cleanliness, and innocence. Yeah. But it could also be a cold color, depending on the hue. It could trigger cleanliness, hospitals, doctors, and even hygiene. Then old gray. They say neutral, quiet. True, it is a neutral color. It could be like a nothing burger, we'll call it. Could trigger indecision, depression. It's just a dull type color. I'd be careful of that one. So, agree with a lot of those. Added some of those that can make a big difference. So they go on to how do you apply this? You should know your colors. Test it out yourself. Choose your clothes that can affect the right mood with other people. I mean, if you wore a yellow suit, man, you'd grab attention when you walked into that room. But after a while, that could be quite annoying unless you were the Curious George, the man in the yellow suit, the yellow hat cartoon, if you've ever seen it. I love the color blue. I own a lot of blue suits. Truth, wisdom, calming, builds credibility. It's a trustworthy color. And it's even been linked, according to this article, to lowered blood pressure and heart rate. It's just kind of a stable color. The sky's blue. The sea's blue. There's just something about blue. It's a very safe color. Red can trigger aggression, but show passion and show power. See a lot of presidential candidates wearing red ties. Now, red increases your strength, metabolism, and blood pressure, and is the current color for the red light, the stop signs. We know what that means. Yellow, happy, sun. Again, the sun's not super yellow. Again, we're not staring at the sun, but it does grab attention. We got to be careful. It's used for traffic signs. But they also agree it's an unstable color, and it can make people appear weak. Green produces the least amount of eye strain. Leaves, trees, it's just one of those colors. Again, it's the lucky, money, go on the traffic light, great characteristics, especially in the workplace. Brown, don't use too many browns. Conjures up feelings of strength and stability. Not sure on that one, but it is kind of a safe color. And if you don't want to stand out, brown is one of those colors. And it's been rated as a very masculine color. Orange invokes stimulation, enthusiasm. I mean, that's the color of fire, citrus fruit, safety vests. It can be associated with melancholy, being gloomy, being depressed. It's not as aggressive as red, but it can grab attention. And they say, I haven't seen the research on this, but it could be true, people's least favorite color. I can think of others that are probably high on that list. I don't know if orange is the highest, but we'll at least go with it's not top of the list. Purple, again, royalty, luxury. It's the most spiritual color. It's a color not found in nature. And back in the day, only royalty could afford purple dye because, again, it's not found in nature. Purple's also the color of magic. Again, it's that mysterious, spiritual, artificial color. And the article says purple give you a little pizzazz. I'll say a little something, something. I talked about pink. Pink's associated with youth, innocence. The article says bold and exciting and powerful. I've seen pink more as a calming color. White, associated with cleanliness, perfection. It's always a safe color. It's always a pure color. I do agree with that. They say it's not the best color for the workplace. I mean, if you're wearing a completely white suit, completely white dress, all your accessories are white, probably not. But white here, white shirt there, good contrasting colors, I know that works. Black conveys feelings of mystery and seriousness. I mean, the mystery could be a power play. It could be a color of power. We do know it has a thinning effect. That is true. Black can mean authority and prestige. Depends on the culture, the situation, and how much black you're wearing. They talk about black being associated with sadness and being solemn. I do know in the research, and they agree on the same thing in the article, is that the teams that wear all black receive more penalties. Is that how the rest perceive them? I don't know. It seems kind of out there, but I have seen the research on that the teams that wear black do get more penalties. And think about it, that mean villain in the movie's probably wearing black. Then gray, neutral. They say the color concrete. I think concrete's more of a whitish gray, but I guess there's a little gray in there. It's lifeless, it's depressing, it's blah. I do agree with that. Or what I would say is just don't even mess with gray. So interesting how color triggers those feelings. I love the study they talked about that the color red appears in 77% of the logos of chain restaurants. All right, interesting. Grabs attention, stimulates appetite. Red can quicken your breathing and even increase your heart rate, as we talked about. Now, one say I love that they use is on the bedroom to optimize sleep. They say go for a blue bedroom. Remember, that's calming. They looked at 2,000 homes and found that people who slept in a blue room got more sleep than other colors. Here are the numbers. Blue rooms average 7 hours and 52 minutes. But the last one was purple, interesting, was 5 hours and 56 minutes. So you're talking 2-hour difference between blue and the worst one, purple. Another research study showed that when given a task where people needed a steady attention span, people performed better in green rooms than the drab concrete type rooms. Exercise rooms, orange, stimulating, revitalizing, enthusiastic. Office, neutral colors, or maybe a slight hue of blue or green. In fact, for those who want to dive deeper, there's a whole science out there known as chromotherapy, known as color therapy, knowing what colors to use when and where. One thing I did learn from the article is that when people are doing color therapy, even if your eyes are shut, the colored light, the wavelengths, can impact you through your skin. And this color therapy has proven effective with insomnia, diabetes, hypertension, and as you know, seasonal affective disorder. And as I mentioned earlier, when people are making snap decisions about a product, 90% of their product assessment is based on color. And color increases brand recognition by 80%. Now you know color matters from brand recognition to impulse purchases to your ability to focus. We can go on and on. So be more aware of that subconscious trigger of color. Test different colors out. Be more aware of how you feel. That's podcast 553 on color. Be more aware of the colors, website, what you're wearing, the walls around you. It matters. In fact, I was working with a karate studio, and they just couldn't get their people to work out very long, because it was pink. They didn't realize it was pink. That's how it came. They just put the gym in there, didn't even think about the color. When they changed the color, it made a huge difference. So the special of the week, we're going to continue with the lifetime special, 90% off of influenceuniversity.com/special. It's usually a monthly membership. This is a lifetime version. Check it out. Tell your family and friends about the podcast. We're on Spotify, YouTube, and iHeartRadio. Become more influential. Become more charismatic. Become a better presenter. Master these skills. Get others to want to do what you want them to do and like doing it. And go out and persuade with power.